Fitness in teens is very important for their well being. Teens nowadays are barely getting enough exercise, and this will have drastic effects on our lives and our futures. I'm Noah Frimer. I'm currently a junior in high school who's seen both sides of this topic. I used to go to the gym about 5 days a week, an hour each day, and I found it to be very relaxing, causing me to be less stressed and also having many other positive effects on me. I was more confident in myself and in my body, and I was just happier overall. Then I stopped going for about 6 months, causing me to spend more time being unhealthy and not being productive with myself. And then after going back for the first time a few days ago, just after that one day, I felt so much better. Today, I have some guests, all of whom are fellow high school students, who are going to share their thoughts on exercise in teens. So we have Deasia, who's a junior at Westwood High School. Josh is a junior at Horizon, and Julia is a junior at McClintock. Physical activity is often known as being good for stress release. It has positive effects on your mind and your body. Do you find this to be true to yourself, and why?
I feel like it's true. I mean, I've heard several of my friends say that they get up and just walk around the room every 20 minutes just for a little bit because they all work at a desk a lot. And it's very, it helps them get focused and stay in the game.
Me personally, I normally don't exercise, but I do make sure I have a little bit of physical activity, from that's even just playing with my dogs outside, running with them, or just running occasionally.
Yeah, I do because I think it's important in life to get exercise and get stronger. And even if you're not working out or bench pressing, you could run a lap around your neighborhood. You could throw a football around and pretty much do anything that workouts your body.
Okay, so how often do you do some type of physical activity?
I want to say probably every weekend on Saturday, I go around the block and walk my dogs every day. And at sometimes I'll run at MCC's track campus just for fun.
I golf during the fall season and swim during the summer. So those are when I'm most active, but during the off seasons, I at least try to walk around a little bit around my backyard every day.
I walk my dog around the railroad park and any other parks. Plus, I play hockey with my brother, field hockey, and I run around pretty much every time.
So, do you play any sports currently, or have you in the past? And if so, or even if not, do you think sports, or just something like working out at the gym, or just like anything like walking, what do you think has the best effect?
Like I said, I golf and swim. Not competitively, but I do swim. And, I mean, I feel like it's different for each person. Like, for example, I know I get the most exercise when I golf, just because that's when I'm most active and dedicated to it. But, I know other people can't focus or don't have time for a sport, so just doing some sort of physical activity works better.
I've actually never played a sport before, but just getting out there, moving my body, because I know it's important, especially for teens, to have some sort of physical activity in their life.
I've played basketball, football, baseball, but I don't play no current sport. But I go out in the backyard and play sports and run around, and have a good time.
So, according to an article by appparenting.com, most teens spend at least 30 hours a week in front of screens and eating unhealthy snacks. Does this relate to you or any of your friends, and how do you think it affects their body and overall mood?
I do spend a lot of screen time. I have a bunch of friends who don't live here anymore, and so I like to talk to them for just chatting online for a lot of time. So I'm on my phone a lot. But, I mean, I feel like this is true for a lot of other people, too.
Me personally, I do spend a lot of screen time, especially with Netflix on my computer. I do eat junk food. I wouldn't say occasionally, but every now and then when I feel special.
Sometimes, but I normally get exercise outside and work out my body.
I'm currently taking a class in school called exercise physiology, where we're learning about like muscles and exercise and like eating right. And so we've learned about planning exercises and the best ones to do and like what you should be eating to have like the best effects on your body. So, how much do you know about these things, if anything? And are there any things you would want to learn more about?
I took a health class over the summer, so I didn't get as much time as, like, I haven't learned as much about it. But, I mean, I feel like this is an important thing to know and should be required for more time in classes.
I recently took a class in the beginning of my junior year. It was health and wellness, specifically more to teens. I basically learned a lot about just the knowledge behind it and like what teens do and like the rates that are going up and how unhealthy they're becoming. But I want to know more about like the psychology, I guess, behind it.
I want to learn about getting stronger and eating healthier.
So, as you should know, being inactive can also lead to health problems such as diabetes, arthritis, and more. And these can have serious effects that will be with you for the rest of your life. You're still young, so it's not too late to change things. But do you know anyone with any of these type of conditions, and how has it changed their life?
Not that I can think of. I don't know as any people with like extreme cases, but I mean, me and my family aren't the healthiest. We do eat junk food and we do spend a lot of time on the couch. And so I feel like to change this, we could just be active more, like rather than sitting and watching TV, maybe playing a board game instead, just to reduce screen time, or going for walks together or bike rides.
For me, I had a personal best friend, but she used to eat hot Cheetos every single day, probably like 10 times a day. And then I remember she went to the doctor one time and they were telling her like her kidney can be like seriously hurt if she didn't stop. So that took a personal effect on me, like, hey, maybe I need to stop too because this isn't healthy. Also, with my family background, it's always about like meat, basically. And yeah.
I don't have any personal experiences, but my friend does, and he has a lot of screen time and watches YouTube a lot. So, I tell him to try to stay off it, and maybe try like 30 minutes, and then have like free time for 30 minutes.
According to an article by teenhelp.com, 30% of teens are obese and 45.9% are at risk for weight-related health problems. How does it make you feel to know that you or your friends could end up with one of these conditions?
I feel like it's like not scary, but it makes me a little anxious. Like if I slack off, for lack of better term, I'm going to I could be like get one of these conditions. But I feel like it's not something to stress about if you're good at like keeping yourself healthy, and if not, then going to a doctor would really help.
For me, I feel like it's kind of like eye-opening and like to look and be like, well, make sure I'm eating good and so I won't end up down that path. Also, just to eat better and not end up in that category.
Yeah, I'd say kind of the same thing, to eat healthy and exercise yourself daily, and try to lay off the sugar and the soda.
So, as some of you mentioned, these health problems are often caused by things like junk food and sugary drinks like soda. Do you think the production of these should be like decreased, and why?
Actually, that's what we're learning about in one of my English classes. But yeah, I feel like there should be more regulation on sugary things like soda and stuff, and even everyday stuff that we don't think is is bad for us. Because a bunch of stuff is artificially flavored and with like chemicals that are made to taste just like this thing, but they're not. They have never seen that thing. So they definitely should have more regulation.
I also do believe it should have more regulation as well because if you go to any high school, there's always vending machines and it's normally chips or sodas or drinks and it's like, come by me, but then it's also like the health that comes back with it.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. I have vending machines at school that's fill with sodas and potato chips and mostly cookies and brownies. And I want to stay away from that, but like when I get really hungry, I want to eat it. But I don't want to have that stuff happen to me.
So, as we just discussed, there's many things when it comes to fitness and eating healthy, and not everything may be for you. But if you take the chance, I know we can find some type of physical activity for you to enjoy while getting the positive effects on your body and mind. You may not have a natural skill for whatever it is, but if you commit yourself, you can do great at it. And while having fun, you could also be saving your life. For Spot 127, I'm Noah Frimer.